Hello all, welcome back to Tech Capture. So in this our video series of Python with Google Cloud, today we are going to see how we can create a persistent disk in Google Cloud using Python and how we can attach this persistent disk to the VM instance. So in this video, we will use a Google API discovery service, and that service is used to generate client library for a Google Compute Engine API. So this will allow us to create disk and perform various operation on the disk when we use this Google API discovery and created client library using this for Compute Engine API. So I'll show you code and I'll also show you the different mistakes we can make while creating the Python code for creating the disk. So let me go to the code first, and this is the code. Let me increase the font size here. Okay, so here what we'll create one persistent disk with smaller size, that is 10 GB, and we'll try to attach it to the compute engine. So currently this code is only for creating the persistent disk. So you can see what I'm doing here. So I imported these two libraries, Google API client, and I'm creating object here, compute Google API client dot discovery build, and I'm defining these variables, and these are the details we required to create our disk, that is the disk name, the type of the disk, and size, which is a 10 GB. But if I execute this code, it will throw an error, and I will show you why. So let me go to this folder and let me execute create disk.py. Okay, so what it is showing, the JSON required invalid value for the field a resource type. So here the type, the PD standard, the disk type is correct, but it is not expecting this value. So why this is not expecting this value? So as I said earlier, we can compare it with any existing disk value, that what is the value it is getting in equivalent API. So let me go to compute engine and I can check any disk. So whenever you are getting these error for values, you can compare it with equivalent REST APIs. So here you can go and you can check how they have mentioned the source type or the type. So here you could see the type they have given in the full path, like project ID, zones, available zone, and the disk type. So I'll put this format. So that is the first thing. Even I struggled for first time while creating the disk using the Python because of this. And the second time this size won't work because we have to give the size in this format. So here you could see size GB. So in Python we have to give size underscore GB. So it will create our disk now. And let me show you here. So these are the variable we are passing, the project, zone, and body. So in body we have given these parameters required to create the disk, and it will get this operation. It will using this result, it will wait for this operation to complete, and once it is completed, it will print the disk is created. So this is a basic code to create the disk. So let me first create the disk and then we'll see how we can attach this disk. So Python create disk.py, let me execute. Okay, so disk test created this test in zone US central 1A. So let me go here and validate if disk test is created with the same size and type. Test is created with 10 GB and this is a balanced persistent disk. Okay, so what we have given PD balanced and the size is 10. Now disk is created. Now we want to attach it. So I'll write another piece of code here. So we'll need additional parameters. So I'll just add body attach block here. Okay, and I'll define value. So here for this we'll need a device name. So this N will be capital. So I can give value like I want device name as suppose disk-1. And what else it need a source, like which disk we need to attach. So I already have the disk name, so I can give disk underscore name. Now one thing I'll show you here also, but before that I'll just create operation for this to attach the disk. So here instead of this compute disk, we need to use compute instance object. Compute dot instance attach disk, and we need to give the details inside. So which details we already have here, this operation, so I'll put these details. Okay, one more thing we need to give here is instance. So what is the instance we need to, so currently I will hard code it, I won't create variable. So we have one instance and we want to attach the disk to this instance -1. Okay, here is a typo. Okay, and let me execute. So this is execute method here we want to use. So here we given the name as a body attached for this second block. So I'll write this one, and I will delete the disk first because it will say disk already exists. So let me delete it. So the here it is going to throw an error, and I will show you why. So let me execute the code now. Let me save it. A resource object has no attribute instance. So this is giving error here because this should be instances. Okay, let me correct and let me run again. Okay, now it is saying it's already exists this disk, so it means it is not yet deleted. It deleted now. Let me rerun again. So now it will create, but it won't able to attach, and the reason I'll tell you. It's still showing disk already exist. Let me see the error. Okay, this is deleted now. It's taking time to refresh. Okay, now you can see disk created, but it is throwing an error because the URL is malformed, because the disk name we are giving in this attach body tag, it is not supported. So it should be your complete a disk URL, but how we can give it in the same code, because we are creating the disk here and we are attaching here, so we have to form the URL. So what I can do, I'll just form the disk URL variable here, and what will be the disk URL, I'll create one format. So I'll just show you how can be a disk URL. So we can copy that. See, this can be a disk URL, it's a self link. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it here, but now we want to form it. So this we can use as a variable. So I'll put this 0 here. This also I want to use as a variable. So I'll again put this 1 here, and this disk name we want to use what will be the form the disk name. So I'll put 2 here. Okay, and what I will do now, I will add format. So format, and here I'll pass these three variables. So first is project, second is zone, and third is now we can use a disk name. Now this will form the disk URL, and this disk URL will pass as a source. Okay, so let me delete the disk again, because we want to keep it in the same code. It should create the disk and immediately it should attach the disk in the same code. So we can add conditions also, that if it is already exists then don't create, only attach. So my motto in this video is just to create and attach disk in the same, so I'm not making it complicated. Okay, now let me execute a full code. Let's wait for this disk to get deleted. Yeah, this disk is deleted. Now this complete code should work. It should create disk and it should attach disk as well. So let me execute now. Sorry, this is getting slower. Okay, it's created the disk and it completed. So let me refresh and you will see the disk will be created and attached to instance. Yeah, you could see this test disk is created with a 10 GB size and this is attached to this instance -1. So this way we can create the disk and attach to the instance. So few things to remember here. I will tell you the few options. So suppose if you want to create the disk from the snapshot, then you have to add here a source snapshot. Okay, and if you want to create the boot disk, then you have to add a source image. So these things you have to add in the body, then it will create your boot disk or it will create the disk from the snapshot. Okay, so that's it for this video. I'll share this code on GitHub. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you again.